So let's talk about some struggles in the military. My biggest struggle in the military was healthcare. Pretty much waving me off, give
Right,
me the
right.
Motrin, and then go back to
To
work.
say it,
Mm-mm.
I do not excel at kissing butt. Seeing a lot of the political stuff play out really soured me because I had never dealt with that. You don't deal with that
Yeah.
in high school and at normal jobs like
Mm-mm.
making a physical fitness hazing, which we
Right.
did. Do
PT
a
for
hundred,
like
yeah, do
punishment.
100 push-ups, hang on that pull-up bar
Mm-hmm.
until I tell you to get down, hold your rifle out,
We
and
did too.
move the beds from one side of the room to the other side. Now move all the beds
Move
to
the
the yes,
beds.
move all. But it was always a headache dealing with the VA. It still is a headache now.
Hey, how y'all doing? Welcome to Just Shay and Friends. Today I am here with my little brother Shalom. He is a I almost said former Marine. I'm not supposed to say that. He is a Marine veteran. And today's topic, going to be talking about the VA. But first, before we get into that, let me tell you about this contest I have entered. It's called Favorite Chef, and the winner is going to be chosen by the viewers. To vote, go ahead and click that link in the description. Like I said, this is my little brother. Shalom, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
I'm Shalone Kaysen, and right now I am not doing much of anything
Mm,
because of my disability got progressively worse
mm,
over the past, kind of right before the pandemic. And the main issue I'm dealing with is migraines and dizziness, of course,
mm.
PTSD as well. But it just got so bad that I couldn't work. So thankfully, the job I was at, where I was teaching, they did have a program for short and long term disability.
Mm,
So thankfully, I was able to get that, and I have enough money with the VA, which we'll talk about later,
mm,
because the disability money by itself from my job wouldn't have been enough to
mm-mm.
pay all my bills and take care of my family. So anyway, right now I'm not doing much. I can do a few things here and there for a few minutes before I have to take a break. So I do have a couple of websites that I'm kind of tinkering around with, and viewers can find those at freecatholicmedia.org. And that's spending time with my kids and my wife. That's basically
Mm-hmm.
all I'm doing,
Nothing
because
wrong with
I
it.
have to be very ginger, with myself, and make sure I'm not overdoing things. So yeah,
Mm, that's a big one. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Relaxing after retiring,
yeah,
because I still feel like you're retired. To me,
yeah,
I feel retired.
yeah.
We're retired, okay? So, what did you do in the Marines?
I was a 0614, which is a switchboard operator. Marines will know those numbers. And so basically, I had to learn how to do radios and phones. And I didn't learn all the details of the radios. I just learned enough
Mm,
for my position. And then I learned how to hook up phones and things like that. Like, because in different military situations, you do not want to have any communications that can be picked up by the enemy or
mm,
other countries that we're not friendly with. So you're literally hooking up wired telephones to a switchboard.
I see.
And it might sound crazy to us in our cell phone world, even satellite phones and all things like that. Everything that is sending a signal wirelessly can be hacked.
Mm,
A wired signal can't be hacked unless you're tapped in on a switchboard. So
mm,
in emergency situations or in combat situations,
mhm,
you might need a wired phone. So that was basically my job. But when I went on deployment to Djibouti, and this was in '06 or '07, I don't remember the exact dates, they didn't need that. So we were base security. We searched cars, we searched people, and just made sure everybody who was coming into the base didn't have any contraband or anything they weren't supposed to have, or when they were
mm,
leaving out, they didn't have anything they weren't supposed to have. And then we just did patrols around the base and around town. Yeah.
interesting. So, at this time, you weren't even doing your designated job, is
No,
what you're saying.
no. So the Marine Corps has three trainings just to get in. So first you go to boot camp, then you go to combat training. Every single Marine goes to combat training.
Oh
It's about a
my.
month long, because the idea in the Marines is every Marine is a rifleman. So every single Marine has to know how to uh, do combat.
Mm-hmm.
And even if your job isn't, for example, infantry.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's exactly what happened to my unit. Our unit was communications. We had radar and telephones,
Mm-hmm.
radios. The unit was ground to air communications, basically.
Mm.
But
Wow.
yeah, but we never did that. When we went on deployment, that wasn't needed, so we became security. And after I got out, my unit also went on deployment to, I believe it was Afghanistan, but some
Mm.
guys who know me, who were in my unit, might be able to correct that. But it was like a year or two after I got out, then they were
Mm-hmm.
deployed. Again, I'm not sure if they were doing their job or not. Probably not.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew.
And then the third school would be the school of whatever it is
You're
your job is supposed to
okay.
be.
Wow, I never knew. So we have like we don't really have soldiers, but we do have people that are just for the protection and
Right.
etc.
Yeah.
I can't imagine as a mechanic also holding the. I can't imagine also holding the. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
Every
cannot
Marine,
imagine.
yeah,
Okay,
even a clerical, admin, warehouse worker,
what
e-
the admin?
admin, every single Marine can
Okay,
become security or infantry.
I'm not gonna say nothing else bad about y'all. Cause no way. So let's talk about some struggles in the military. My biggest struggle in the military was I want to say healthcare, but not really healthcare. That wasn't the issue. The issue was the personnel,
Hmm,
medical personnel.
okay.
Okay, so I felt like as a black woman, when I came in there with an issue that was not tangible to them or that they could not see specifically,
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm having issues with my stomach, this that and the third, they always like write it off as oh, it's your premenstrual, or oh, it's whatever, pretty much waving me off, give
Right,
me the
right.
Motrin, and then go back to work pretty much. There were some other struggles I might get into in another podcast because it's beefy. It's
Yeah. Oh,
beefy. It
yeah.
it really is the reason why I had to get out,
Yeah.
because I, like you, am now on disability
Mhm.
because of my service in the Navy.
Right,
So, yeah, that was my biggest struggle. I really struggled with that. And even now, today, when I go to the regular doctors, I struggle advocating for myself
right.
because I guess in a way I have a form of PTSD with medical personnel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because their main goal, I feel like, I'm not biting my tongue, I feel like their main goal is get you back to work.
Well, every organization has goals that they're going after,
Mm-hmm.
and the military, different branches treat it differently, but yes, the military doctor's goal 9 times out of 10 is to keep the troops operational, not
Mm-hmm.
to necessarily heal them.
Right.
Because and you also see this, and we'll get back to my issues, but
Mm-hmm.
this little sidebar, you'll also see this in corporations when they
Mm.
when they have a doctor, and some do, not many anymore, but some still do. So they're like, oh, if you're feeling sick, you need to have a note from our clinic or something like that.
Right.
Or if you have workman's comp, or like I had to do, which is um, I had to do for the long-term disability, I had to see a third party doctor, even though
Mm-hmm.
my doctor has already signed the forms numerous times. They want to try to get you off
Mm-hmm.
because after a certain period, it depends on the job. After a certain period of them approving you, they legally are going to have much harder time getting you off. Maybe if
Mm.
after a year or two
Yeah.
years or whatever. So they want to, before that happens, they want to make sure, it's all honest, it's all, up to snuff, or whatever euphemism you want to use. But really what they're trying to do is see if they can get you off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sad, but that you have a similar thing going on in the military where the focus of the doctors is to get the troops operational.
Mm-hmm.
It's even in peacetime, even on US soil, that's still the mentality.
Keep the wheel
Um,
turning.
Not to say that there aren't good doctors and
Mm.
nurses. I don't know these people, and
Right,
I'm
right, right.
sure we cannot judge their intentions,
No.
but we can judge the results.
Mm-hmm.
So their intentions might be perfectly good. They might be saints, but the results that a lot of former military veterans, retired military
Mm-hmm.
have similar things to say. So the
Mm.
results aren't good
No.
because the mentality of the training of the medical personnel is different than, for example, a family doctor where you might go to and they send you a birthday card and everything and
Mm-hmm.
they're concerned about your health.
Right,
It's going to be different. But my
right.
main issue with the military was just probably was just being young and not knowledgeable about the world.
Mm.
So I've always been an overachiever. So one of the things, if I go into any organization, I'm going to see if is there a little niche where I can slide in
Mm-hmm.
and excel. So they have like a promotions program, which the Marines is pretty much the same as the Navy. You can have a meritorious master and
Okay.
different things like that, and you can get promoted early
Mm.
up until um, NCO. So
Mm-hmm.
there's about 4 ranks before NCO. Once you get there, there's no early, not unless you're in a
Yeah.
war or whatever, and you do something of valor.
I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I, got my first 2 promotions pretty quickly, and I wanted to get the next one to but I never got it. And
Oh.
I felt like that there were other people who got it meritoriously, that they got
Mm-hmm.
promoted
Mm-hmm.
because they were kissing butt. I guess I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I do not excel at kissing butt. I excel at doing my job
That's
to the
facts.
best of my ability. And if there's extra stuff, I'll do that too. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to be the best person I can be, and I want to give the best that I have available.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing a lot of the political stuff play out really soured me because I had never dealt with that. You don't deal with that
Wow.
in high school and at normal jobs like
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's or whatever. I had never worked a
Right.
serious job where there were politics involved, and I just didn't understand it. And I got really frustrated with the whole system. And I kind of
Wow.
was just like, yeah, I don't want to
No, I
deal with it at
get
all
that.
anymore. Now, I did have health issues. I had migraines, which I didn't even get approved from by the VA until very recently, even though that was almost 20 years ago.
Oh
But
my.
yeah, so I never had migraines before, and then I was having migraines 3 times a week every time we did PT, and the migraines would last almost a whole day. So I was basically having migraines all day,
Oh
3 times a week, and there was nothing they could do to fix them. So that was a big issue, especially on deployment. And they just didn't have an answer. And instead of saying, well, you're not, operationally ready to do anything, they're just like, well, you can do everything. We just haven't figured out why you're getting migraines, but you can still do everything. I'm like,
mm.
okay, my
Interesting.
head is splitting. It feels like somebody's pouring lava, into my skull, and I'm fine to do work.
So
Okay.
so basically until we figure out what's wrong with you, nothing's wrong with you.
Yeah, basically. So that was a big issue for me, kind of on the medical take, which is okay, we can give you a shot and which will be a painkiller and you can go back to work, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that really soured me on the whole experience as well. So, I did my
Mm.
4 years and then I was done. And that was '08 when I got out.
You said just the fact that you were so young was just an issue.
Yeah.
That could create a lot of problems because I mean, first of all, you know now. You're mature enough to say now you were not mature then. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that because I was like already well into my 20s when
Yeah.
when I joined.
I literally turned 18 and I was at MEPS on my
Oh,
birthday.
Oh my! Why don't
Yeah.
I remember this? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
you weren't around. I don't know where you were, but yeah, it was just
2000s. Yeah,
oh
man.
04. It was just me and Dornita, and that was it.
Wow. So
So
your 18th birthday, jump right in.
yeah, literally,
Jump right in.
literally on my birthday, I was over there signing up because you can't. The buses were leaving, and they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, you can't sign up till you're 18. So we're gonna schedule it so you know that it's past your birthday." So I was
Mm-hmm.
at MEPS on my birthday, basically. Yeah,
Wow. Them recruiters.
yeah.
They were smart. They were like quota.
But the issues that I had, the political game playing,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been able to deal with it much better if I was older because when I became a
Yes.
teacher, that's all it was. The
Mm.
whole thing was political game playing. And by that time, I realized, having a wife and kids, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I don't have time for y'all's BS.
Right.
So I'm just going to do my job, what I'm required to do. I'm not coming in early. I'm not staying late. I'm doing my job in the allotted time that you give me. I'm going to do the best I can do, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going above and beyond because you're not going to reward me for going above and beyond.
Yeah.
You're going to arbitrarily reward whoever you want based on how you feel,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to give me a promotion every number of years. You have to
Yes.
raise my pay every so I don't care. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to kiss any butts. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do my job good and and leave it at work
Mm-hmm.
when I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
As a young person, I could not fathom that. I never had a serious job before that I would be doing for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I most jobs I had a few months, a year maybe.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it would have been a big difference if I was older, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you're the strongest when you're younger. So it's, they wanna get the
They
young
want to get the
people.
younger in. For me, I think being older and a little more mature helped me out. A lot of the guys that were up above me were younger than me,
Yeah.
and they're required. I guess they wanted my help other than over the younger ones help. So
Yeah,
I'm the same rank as the younger guys, but when it came down to them or me, they chose me
right.
because I did do that, go above and beyond. I mean, I was the person, if I come to the meeting, I'm gonna bring you a coffee too. If you a big wig,
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
bring you a coffee, sir. You coffee? You good? When I bring food, I bring extra
right.
for the boss because it tends to be a popularity contest at times.
Yeah,
But me already having been in the world and worked other places, you're right. I knew that
yeah.
already. So,
And those people who understood that got ahead. And us
hmm
younger guys are looking around at each other like, why did so and so get promoted?
right,
They don't do anything,
right,
but
and
they do all the right things and none of the ones that relate to their job
there you
because they
go.
don't have to,
There you go.
But yeah, I would say those are the two main issues: medical, like you said,
Mhm.
and just not knowing the political, uh, you know, work life balance game as a
Right.
young person.
My goodness. Okay. Next, let's talk about why did you get out of the military, the Marines? So you
Well,
say you did 4 years,
yeah.
right? Okay.
So it just wasn't working out. Even at year 2, year 3, it just wasn't working out for me at all. And mostly it was the political games and things like that.
Mhm.
Mentally, it was very difficult to handle on top of having migraines 3 times a
Mhm.
week. And if I did a normal job, I wouldn't necessarily have to deal with that because I wouldn't be doing PT first thing in the morning.
Yes.
So I had at that time kind of found a relation between, I wouldn't say extreme, but heightened physical activity and the migraines. Well, that was my guess. The doctors had no better guess, so that's what I went with.
Mm.
But I was kind of getting into trouble because I was young, and basically they were like, "Okay, well, do you want to get out? You have these medical issues, and you have to be sent." I had to be sent home from my deployment early, and they're like, the Navy doctor said, "Well, do you want to get out? You're close to your end of your term or whatever." I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And so he wrote an admin separation based off of medical stuff. And I did not know that's
What?
what he was saying. Yeah. So I got administratively separated. It wasn't that, I did 4 years,
Yeah,
but
but
I was
still.
supposed to do a 2 and 4. So I technically I signed a 6. So I did 4 out of 6. But I did more active than I was supposed to. So they have different contracts. Navy probably is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
You can do 4 active and that's
Yeah.
it. You could do 2 active and 4 reserve, or 2 and 6. They got all weird kinds. So I did 2 and 4, but I ended up doing like 3 or 3.5 years active, just because
Mm.
of different activations, deployments, whatever. So, but I got admin separated, and they put it down as a personality disorder, which they had no proof for. I didn't go to any psychologist. No one did any testing of any sort
So
to
what does that
determine
do
that.
to your discharge or your
It was
separation?
general under honorable. So I
Okay.
have an honorable discharge, but it's general. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just honorable
Yes.
only.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they have to have something like that they can't say this person did everything and finished, but they didn't do anything wrong either. Like they
Right,
weren't
right.
bums and they got a dishonorable, or maybe they got I think there's a third category, I don't know, but I wasn't a bum. I wasn't a bad Marine.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have
Interesting.
known that I would have gotten a general discharge, which hasn't, harmed me that much, but if I would have known that back then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, still being a kid, I don't even think 21 yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said no. I would have said I'm going to finish
Right,
my time. It's not even that much left. But
right.
that, was, for a while I had some difficulties with the VA and things like that, but thankfully I got those worked out. I did try to go to senators, congressmen, and try to get it changed.
Mm-hmm.
That went on for years, and the VA basically said, not the VA, the Navy board basically said, based on your record, it could have been worse, so you better be happy with what you got.
Oh,
Yeah, I got that paper somewhere. That's literally
that's
what
the
they
vibe
said.
you got from it?
No, that's
Oh,
literally what
that's
they
literally
said.
what it said.
Literally what they said.
Yeah, we could have gave you worse.
Yeah, we could have.
Be satisfied.
Yeah,
I'm weak.
that's what they said.
Uh-uh.
So, yeah, that's why I got out.
I'm weak. You better take what you can get.
Yeah.
Complaining. I'm weak. Wow, I did not know that. So he just said, "Do you want to get out?"
Yes.
I've never heard of them saying that.
Well,
Just, do you want to get out?
you have one
Okay.
example now.
You having problems? You want to get out? Ow. Okay, sir. I mean, if you look at it, he did you a favor. But they should have been helping you more.
Yeah.
Definitely should have been helping you more. I mean, the way your life is now, I feel like you're successful.
Yeah, I could say that.
Yeah.
If I'm basing it off of family, then I would say I have a house, I have a
Mm-hmm.
family,
Mm-hmm.
loving wife and kids. That's
Mm-hmm.
success to me. I can pay my bills. So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, yeah, I would say it worked out in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you got enough kids to say you're successful. I feel like you
If we're
got
counting it by kids, yeah. But not
yeah.
as successful as our parents. If you're
Oh,
counting it by kids.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you trying to catch
We're
up or what?
I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Mm-mm. Dang, I just really thought you were med tech.
What's that?
That's like for us, like
Oh,
you have
medic.
to go through a whole board
Oh,
and all
nah.
of that. That's what I
Nah, and
thought.
I didn't get any money or anything. They just separated me.
Irritating.
Yeah. And when I try to go somewhere else, they were like, "Yeah, you can't do anything with this code."
Yeah, no, you
And I
can't.
was
They
like,
told me not
"What
to do that.
code?" They're like, "This code. Didn't they tell you?" I was like,
So
"I
nobody sat you down?
nope,
You didn't have a briefing?
nope.
What is this the norm?
I don't know. That's what
I'm
happened to
mad
me."
for I'm mad for my brother. I say,
It's too late now.
yeah, it is too late,
I
but
literally didn't know what the code meant until I went to another branch to try to.
you didn't even know you had a code, huh?
I didn't know. I didn't know.
That's terrible.
I
That's
didn't know the
terrible.
difference between. I knew dishonorable was bad, but they said you're getting general under honorable.
So you
I
assumed
was
you were
like,
good.
okay, fine.
No.
I did see that it said personality disorder or whatever, but I was like, I don't care. I'm done
Yeah,
with
yeah.
y'all. But nobody sat down and was like, this means this This means that. This means that. Do you understand?
I don't know if that's supposed to be a rule, but we had to sign many papers saying we understood what was
I signed
happening.
one single paper to get out.
Your page
And I
13
have
was
that
2
paper.
lines?
It was a few lines.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I have that paper. I signed one paper and I was done. That was it.
Oh my goodness. No, because we had a whole, I'm not saying we better or nothing, but the people I was dealing with, they wanted to help me. See, that was the
Oh,
thing. Everybody wanted to help me because I had been, just around for a long time and I was in for 15 years.
right.
So I got sat down. Do you understand what this means? No, this what it means.
Right.
Do
Which
you
is
have
how
any
it should be.
questions?
Yeah.
Right. And he made me sit there and read through every paper with him. So I'm sorry that didn't happen to you, but
This is also over almost 20 years ago. So
I
the
see.
methods also when I was in boot camp, they still allowed hazing.
Same here.
And when I
Same
got
here.
out, they said they're not even allowed to do like, physical fitness hazing, which we
Right.
did. We do
PT for
100,
like
yeah, do
punishment.
100 push-ups. Hang on that pull-up bar until I tell you to get down. Hold your rifle out,
We
and
did too.
move the beds from one side of the room to the other side. Now move all the beds
Move
to
the
yes,
beds.
move all the beds
What is y'all
from one
doing?
side of the room to the other side. Now
D-
move all the beds from the side that they're on to the
What?
other side. Yes. Now run all the way to the end of the barracks. Now run back.
I ain't never experienced none of that. I guess
Yeah.
I used to say they were, beating our ass, but I don't think so now.
Oh yeah.
And we used to have to do the push-up thing
Yeah.
and just stay that way
That one
for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And whoever dropped, make everybody start all over or
Yeah.
whatever.
We did that.
Yeah.
The
but
beds was the worst.
the beds thing is crazy. I can't imagine pushing these beds across the
Yeah.
Whoo, Chad. Don't nobody get in trouble. We gonna beat you up after this. Nobody.
We had to do the bed thing. I think my memory could be wrong, but I believe someone stole peanut butter from the cafeteria and it was found in the barracks.
Oh,
And at first they wouldn't admit, but then the guy came forward and he's like, "Well, good thing you came forward, but everybody's still gonna move the beds from one side to the other side to the other side all night. Well, until it was bedtime."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we had a countdown. They always had a countdown. They might not have that anymore. So it's like, okay, especially in the morning. Okay, what did we put on first? I think we put on like pants first, probably. So, okay, put on your pants. You got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What?
All right, put on your shirt. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you got to be on the line. So they had a line. I don't know if they had that in the Navy. So after you put your pants on, you better be on the line at attention.
Pants, boots, everything?
No.
Oh,
one
okay.
piece, and then they
Wait a
count
minute,
down.
what?
Yeah.
One piece at a time.
Yes,
Just rushing
and they
you.
count down. Yep. And then they're like, all right, now you got to make your bed and you got, okay, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, and you got to, and they're going to check, put their fingers in. If it comes out, you got to redo it. So we came up with a sneaky thing when, I don't know if it was my idea. It probably was. So we came up with a sneaky thing. We always had 2 guys on duty, or I don't know if it was 2 or 4 because it was a lot of dudes in the barracks. So it might have been 4 guys. So somebody, maybe it was me, maybe not, came up with the idea to get dressed on the last duty shift and lay back down.
Oh.
So the drill instructor stays there, one of them, in a little shack, not a shack, but it's like a little office in the barracks, but they're separate from us.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, so we couldn't get everybody up. Of course, they would notice that. So the duty guys would get 2 people up at a time, and because a duty shift is like an hour.
Yeah.
So by the time the shift is over, everyone's up. You get up,
ready.
You put your clothes on, and you make your rack, and you lay down in your made rack. So one time the first time drill instructor's like, all right, everybody get up, get your pants on, 10, 9, 8, 7, everybody stand online fully dressed. He's like,
I know he was like, I know you lying.
He was like,
did he just roll with it?
I think he went back into the office for a little bit and then came back out, and then he's like, all right, we're gonna get our beds, 10, 9, 8, 7, and we're like, just standing there.
What?
And he's like, all the beds done. He's like, all right, let's get started with our day.
Just
And
like,
then-
okay.
And then we just did that until the end of boot camp. But
Wow.
one time the drill instructor was like, look, that's, interesting that y'all did that, but don't put your boots on. Like, just don't use the boots. Do
Yeah.
everything else. Because at first we were doing everything.
Wow. So
But-
you're just sleeping on the bed and the boots fully
with
closed.
everything, yeah. But then they were like, okay, we don't care if you do it, just don't do the boots. So we're like,
okay.
all right.
They were probably like, okay, I see y'all.
But it saves them a lot of time and energy getting us dressed every morning.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how the Navy does it, but that's how we did it. And once we figured that out, that just saves so much time in the morning. And they were less strict on us after that.
You know what? I was not a team player. Because I was laughing because eventually I started doing that myself. I didn't do boots. I didn't go as far as boots, but I put everything on top of my pajamas or whatever they called it. I put everything on top and just slept on top of my bed. I didn't mess it up, okay?
Yeah.
And when I got out, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But I was not a team player. I ain't tell nobody else. I was like, sucks to suck.
Well, I think we were thinking if one person does it, then they could get in trouble. But if we all do it, we could all get in trouble, but at least we were already dressed for that day. That was our thought. But then they were like, y'all can do it. So we're like, oh, sweet. At the combat training, you're just marching around all the time and doing these little drills. So everybody would roll out their thing, take their clothes off, fold them up, and I would literally just take off my blouse and roll it up and put my head on that. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm like, bloop. And
you're not unpacking nothing, huh?
No, I never unpacked anything.
It took too much time. That's smart, though. Just lay on you as a pillow.
Yeah. Sidebars.
Yeah, I know it's crazy how dissimilar our experiences were. I would not have survived.
Yeah.
The Marines. I would not have survived, honey. Okay, we back, you guys. We back and we black. Before we continue with this topic, if you're liking this content, go ahead and click that like button. Let's talk about the VA.
Okay.
So how was your initial experience with the VA and then progressing until today? Like, how is it going?
So initially, I only contacted the VA to get my GI Bill, which at first, maybe I didn't have certain paperwork, whatever. They just denied me. They're like, you don't get any GI Bill, which I knew was wrong because even though I signed up as reserves, I would say 90% of my time active. So they base the GI Bill off of active time generally. And I'm like, okay, I did like 3.5 years out of 6 that I was supposed to do active. So I was still young back then. Maybe I was 21, 22. I just kind of gave up. And then a few years later, I met somebody that was like, I work for the VA and I'll take your paperwork and see what I can do. So she was able to get me approval for the GI Bill. And then I used a little bit of that, and then they changed it over to post 9/11 GI Bill, which is even better, which, some of these kids that are in now or people who might listen to this podcast, they don't even know the difference. Like there was Montgomery, which was just, they're going to give you some money. It's not going to apply directly to the school. They just give you a check and you just use it on whatever you want to. But the post 9/11, they pay the school directly up to 100%, but it just depends on how, much time you had. I actually had 90%, so I had to pay the other 10%, which was basically nothing because they also give you a stipend.
Right.
Yeah, so I just used the stipend to pay the 10% and the rest of the stipend to pay my bills and stuff. So I didn't have anything medically, or they had denied me. I don't remember, but it was always a headache dealing with the VA. It still is a headache now. As far as my conditions and what I'm fighting with them about, I don't know how much I can go into because I'm, it's all active, and I have a lawyer that is helping me deal with that right now. So I would say my experience with the VA with the VA claim side has not been good. With VA medical, I've had 2 distinct experiences before Trump and after Trump. Now, some people might say, "Oh, Trump, Orange Man bad." It's like, well, let me explain.
Yeah.
So during Obama, which is when I was first dealing with the VA medical system, they were the worst. They were horrible. They
Yeah, I
were really
remember you
bad.
talking about that.
You could be waiting for hours and hours for a walk-in. You could not get appointment for months and months, even if you
Mm.
called and trying to schedule an appointment. Doctors just were checked out. A lot of them, they're not really listening or not prescribing or trying to experiment and do things to help you, or you're just getting ignored completely. I mean, I have articles pulled up for another issue, but not for this. But
Mm-hmm.
we all know during the Obama years. I don't know about Bush. Yeah, I wasn't dealing with the VA then. I was in the military and during Bush, and then I was dealing with the VA during Obama. So I don't know about during Bush. It was probably bad with him too, but it was horrible. After Trump, he first of all his first presidential salary he gave to the VA.
Mm.
Whether he should have done that or not, I don't know. If they just wasted it, I don't know. But he made the kind of symbolic gesture that he believes in the VA by doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
not only did he, you know, give that money, he also changed a lot of the way that they were doing things. Someone might argue, well, it was Obama that was starting that stuff. We don't have any proof of that.
Mm.
All I know is when I was dealing with the VA under Obama, everything was horrible. And when
Mm.
Trump got in, it progressively got better year after year
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it is now, which isn't great, but it's
No.
decent.
Mm-hmm.
So what changed was first they came out with community care. Community care means you can go to patient first. You can
Mm-hmm.
go to any urgent care. You might even be able to go to a doctor that is not in the VA if your condition calls for it. So one time I had to go to physical therapy. The physical therapist was in Hampton at the Hampton Medical Center.
Mm-hmm.
I told them I get dizzy. I cannot drive all the way to Hampton every time I need an appointment.
Right.
So they gave me community care right down the street. So I would drive down the street to Centera and get my physical
Let me
therapy.
just ask a
It's not
question.
yeah.
So, if you had a time machine, and we're not going to argue about this, if you had a time machine, you could go back and tell 18-year-old Shalom
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
to help you now.
What would I
What
tell?
would you say, or would you even?
So it depends. It always depends. So if we're talking about time travel based on the bootstrap paradox, which is like Back to the Future, you go
Mm-hmm.
back and you change something and you can delete yourself or something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about that kind of time travel, I wouldn't do it. But if we're talking about time travel, which is based on branching timelines, which is similar to Umbrella Academy,
Mm-hmm.
then I would be interested in doing it because the life I have now, I'm happy with.
Okay, so
But
you don't want to change it, basically.
I don't want to change my life in any way. I wouldn't change it in any way.
Okay.
And I'm just grateful, for what God has given me at this time. So I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
fiddle with that. But
Right.
if there's another Shalom in another timeline who hasn't experienced any of this stuff yet, I would definitely be willing to jump over to his timeline, tell him a few tips and tricks, and jump back here. So the main thing I would tell him is if you're going to join the military, which there are other options, that doesn't have to be the first pick,
Mm-hmm.
but if you're going to do it, keep all your medical records. Get
Mm-hmm.
a copy of the doctor's notes every time you go to the doctor for anything. It could be any reason. You got a headache, go.
Mm-hmm.
You got a little bit of back pain, go and get the notes. Don't just say, "Oh, my knee hurts a little bit. I'm going to deal with it." No, just go. It's free. It's
Mm-hmm.
free healthcare.
Free healthcare.
Go and get the notes every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Get the notes emailed to you and keep a copy for yourself. You can print them out or you can keep them on a hard drive, whatever. Just keep a copy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're ready to make a claim, if you need to, you will have everything. And they can't say
Yes.
they lost it, which is exactly what they told me. They
Mm-hmm.
lost over 80% of
Mm-hmm.
my medical records.
Yeah, that happened to me as well.
And I was fighting to get the headaches covered since then because they had no records of them. I only recently got approved for headaches because I got a lawyer involved.
Oh.
So they basically would have never approved me.
Wow.
because the records were lost. But the lawyers, I don't know, they have some special abilities. On the topic of lawyers, then I would tell my younger self, hey, when you're ready to get out, call a lawyer right away. Call a VA lawyer right away.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not going to take any money up front. All they're going
Nope.
to do is get 20% of your back pay if you win. If you don't win,
Yeah, that's only
it's
if you
nothing.
win.
If you win. So call them and just tell them what medical issues you have, and they will let you know if you need to file a claim or not. They
Mm-hmm.
are the specialists. They'll let you know. So you don't need to worry about maybe I should file this or maybe not. Just call the lawyer, tell them what
Mm-hmm.
medical issues you have, and they'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell an alternate universe, alternate timeline version
Mm-hmm.
of myself.
But you don't want to change it. You don't want to change nothing.
No, I wouldn't change anything. One of the biggest issues that I believe the VA has right now, as the VA claims department, as a corporation has, is the way that they treat veterans. Now, you had a different experience because you went through the lawyer first.
Mm-hmm.
Veterans who filed their own claims or filed with veterans groups like the DAV, they've had varying degrees of frustration with the VA. We've all heard the stories. And the reason why, and I'm going to point out the ridiculousness of the irony of this action, but the reason why the VA basically denies everything is because they're going off of the assumption that most veterans are trying to get over on the VA.
Oh my.
This is I don't somebody didn't tell me this. I'm not a leaker. I don't have like recorded tapes, right? But we can tell by the way they treat claims what they believe, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can tell by the actions what somebody believes. And the VA must believe that veterans are trying to get over, which is why I don't want to say 9 out of 10, but maybe 7 out of 10 times they're denying claims that are perfectly fine. Now, there could be two reasons for this. One, it could be because they all don't want the claims to balloon and then not have enough money to pay them, which is ridiculous because, us veterans, we put our bodies on the lines, our minds on the line to protect our country. Even if you are sitting in the office in, Phoenix, Arizona the whole time, it doesn't matter. You said if a war breaks out, I will go. Because one didn't, that doesn't mean you're any less of a veteran.
Right.
We have to do the training. The training is dangerous. People die in training all the time. So we put in the work. You said you're going to pay us if we're hurt.
Right.
So you should do that. It doesn't matter how much it costs. So one reason could be they don't want the cost to balloon. Another reason could be that they just truly don't believe that many of these claims are legit, which is strange because how should they get to I'm at a loss for words. It's just so crazy. But I'm going to tell you the irony. I have pulled up before I came here about 5 or 6 articles of actual fraud. So we have one article from CNN. A veteran faked not being able to walk, and he got about $600,000 in benefits of fraud. They found out because they saw him walking to his car outside the VA. Okay. So these are fraudsters that have been allowed to milk the VA for millions of dollars, but they're denying people like me who's asking for a few bucks.
Yeah.
And who has a real problem, who's not lying, but they treat me as if I'm the fraudster,
As if
and
you're
the
that guy,
fraudster
yeah.
gets away. Okay, we got another
Crazy.
article. Washington man accused of stealing combat veterans' ID to collect more than $800,000.
Oh my gosh.
So the indictment alleges that this man collected VA compensation payments intended for veterans with injuries or illnesses from their service, and he received VA health care for more than 20 years.
What?
Another scammer from Virginia, North Little Rock, he stole about $20,000. Not that much, but here's the kicker. He works for the VA, and he was making $113,000 a year. and he stole $20,000.
Sir, at this point, you being greedy. You being greedy.
In Pittsburgh, a man was embezzling money. A man who worked at the VA was embezzling money from veterans who were bedridden. So they couldn't cash their checks. So these veterans could tell the VA, and these must have been really old veterans because now it's all digital. So veterans who don't have a digital bank that they can, send the money to would have physical checks go to the VA, and those checks would be deposited by a physical person to help out veterans who are older, bedridden, whatever. This person decided, because these people can't really spend their money, they don't know what's going on, he stole over $17,000 of their money.
Oh my gosh.
This guy worked for the VA.
That's crazy.
And the last article is about a man who stole, or not stole, he actually just lied. So according to court documents, this man falsely claimed that he served in the Marine Corps and they had been a prisoner of war in Iraq. And he claimed that he had PTSD and other injuries from an IED. And he submitted forged and falsified documents. He also claimed to be a Purple Heart recipient, and he never served in the military at all. And he got more than $100,000 of
What
VA
in the
benefits.
world?
This was a quick search I did before I came here. This was not an
Wow.
extensive search. I found so many articles that I thought about starting my own show, reading all these crazy stories of people defrauding the VA because
Yeah.
because if you're on this side of the fence looking over, it's like you're treating me like I'm these guys.
Yeah.
You let these guys take millions of dollars and you are treating me as if I'm them and not letting me get a single penny. That is disgraceful and it is wrong. And the VA claims department, the health department has made strides in getting better, and I commend them for that. The claims department needs to fix their lives.
They need
I
something.
don't know what they
Me
need to do
neither.
something.
They need very much something.
Veterans shouldn't have to hire lawyers and lose any of their money to get what they deserve, what they were promised, because we should not be looked at as criminals. But if I wanted to lie, which I'm not willing to do because I believe that is wrong, I'm not willing to lie for almost any reason, especially not to get money. But if I was willing to lie, they would give me every single thing. Because I'm not, they treat me like I am a criminal, like I am lying because I'm telling the truth. And that is sad.
It is sad.
That's sad. That's the last thing that I want.
It is sad. That reminds me of like trying to get any other help, like food stamps.
Yeah.
For example,
it's
I had such a hard time trying to get food stamps, just doing stuff by the book and doing stuff, giving them everything, all the paperwork they asked for. And then I know people that do the bare minimum. They forging stuff. Putting, you know what I'm saying? False put anything up there. Doing stuff wrong is what I'm saying. Lying. And they get so much money. And I'm like, man, if I had the heart to lie, I swear.
Right. Well,
if I had it, man,
I wouldn't do it.
I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it.
But the issue is that the roles are reversed. The people who are honest are getting screwed over and treated like criminals, and the criminals are getting the red carpet, the golden doors. They're being let right into the vaults, and they're taking millions of dollars out. Why is that? Now, somebody might say, well, they should be strict with these welfare programs. And what I would say is VA is not welfare. It is not. The VA is a promise that our government made to military personnel who got harmed. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was started after the Civil War, and they were giving land out. At first, they were giving land. It turned into money and healthcare later. For all the people who survived and who fought in battles, they were promised land. And guess what? A lot of them didn't get it. So from the very beginning, the VA was flawed, but it's not welfare. It is a promise to people who did a job. Welfare is, I can't help myself for whatever reason, and I'm not, I'm not poo-pooing welfare.
No.
If you need it, you need it. But welfare is substantially different because welfare says you are not giving the government anything for this stuff. You need help. We're going to
Yeah.
take tax money from other people and give it to you.
Right. But we literally put in time.
Right. VA is a promise for goods and services that we already gave. And they're saying, we're going to help you out later because you're helping us now. And then they don't do it.
And then they don't do it. If people really irritate me with that, oh, they need to, like, comparing it to welfare. No, it's not. It's not like welfare.
And it shouldn't be limited, you know, with all these budgets, and they're blowing out the budgets, giving money to Ukraine and giving money to Israel and everybody else. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that the VA's budget is too high or whatever, and you're giving away all this money in these other places. We need people to join the military, and we need people to stay in and protect our country. And we can't have that if all they're hearing is, when you get out, you're going to be thrown into the garbage like a, you know, old Snickers wrapper. People aren't going to want to join. And by the way, they're not joining like they used to.
That's what I heard.
Because of a lot of issues with the military itself and the way that higher ups treat you know, lower ranking members, and the politics of it all, the money. Some, you know, some people might say, oh, well, you're getting a lot of money. Well, it depends. If you have to be gone 6 months out of the year, is it worth it? You know? And so there's a lot of issues that young people are taking into account. I could just do something else.
Yeah. And that is an option.
It is an option, but we need people in our military. And one way to help recruitment would be able to say, hey, if you get sick or if you get hurt, the VA is going to take care of it. You just go in there, you show them your records, and they will take care of you. People would feel a lot more comfortable joining up.
Absolutely. It's foolishness, and they're giving us a hard time, and we over here
can't get a penny.
we over here sweeping their floors and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get nothing.
Irritating.
It's
but
like,
anyways,
what's that thing with the please sir have some more? What is that?
Please sir, can I have some more? What was that? I don't remember.
It's Charles Dickens.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's them. We got 1 grain of rice. Can I please have some more? Get out of here. You lucky you got the 1 grain.
I saw you steal all that food yesterday, and it was the other kid, and he got 3 bowls.
I know.
And they just looking right at him like he didn't do anything.
And I just got 1 grain in my bowl.
Lordy.
That's how I feel for real.
Yeah.
But I hope this info helps some of y'all. We not trying to deter y'all from doing nothing, okay? We not saying don't join the military. We not saying don't do that. We not saying nothing. Just be prepared. And some of this information gonna prepare you. Thank y'all for watching. And since you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and watch the next video coming up. Thank you. Bye.